You work hard. You stay busy. You follow all the steps. Yet financial success feels like a distant destination at the end of a confusing maze. You take a step forward, hit a wall, and turn back. What if there's a hidden path? A secret passage that bypasses the maze entirely? What if there's a loophole in the laws of success that almost everyone misses? This is not a metaphor. This is not motivational poetry. This is a scientific principle discovered over a century ago by Wallace D. Wattles, a principle so powerful that it transforms the very nature of action itself, turning every movement you make into a guaranteed step toward wealth. The pain you feel is the exhaustion of ineffective effort. It is the sensation of being perpetually busy but never truly productive, of working hard but not getting rich. You fill your days with tasks, your calendar overflows with commitments, and yet, at the end of each week, you look back and wonder what you actually accomplished. Your actions feel disconnected from your results, as if there's an invisible barrier between your effort and your rewards. This is not your fault. You have been taught a fundamental lie. Society tells us that the quantity of our action is what matters. Work more hours, do more things, stay busier than everyone else. But Wallace D. Wattles taught a scientific truth that shatters this illusion completely. The universe does not respond to your busyness. It does not count the hours you spend in motion or tally the number of items you check off your list. The universe responds to the quality and efficiency of each individual act you perform. Think about this carefully. Every action you take is either moving you toward wealth or away from it. There is no neutral ground. An inefficient action, no matter how well-intentioned, is an action that fails to advance you. It consumes your energy, depletes your time, and leaves you exactly where you started. Or worse, it moves you backward. The promise I make to you today is this: you will learn the law of efficient action, the one type of action that acts as a success loophole, ensuring that every ounce of energy you expend moves you in a direct, unbroken line toward your financial goals. This is not about working harder. This is about working with the full creative power of the universe behind every single thing you do. When you master this law, your life transforms from a chaotic maze of wasted motion into a straight, powerful trajectory toward inevitable wealth. You will no longer wonder if your efforts will pay off. You will know with scientific certainty that they must. Let me be clear about what we are discussing here. This is not a productivity hack. This is not a time management technique. This is a law of cosmic physics, as real and immutable as the law of gravity. When you drop a stone, it falls. When you perform an efficient action, you move toward success. It is a guarantee written into the fabric of reality itself. Wallace D. Wattles understood this at a level that most success teachers never reach. He saw that the universe operates on precise principles and that wealth is not a matter of luck, privilege, or even talent. It is a matter of aligning your actions with the way the universe actually works. Here is the pact I make with you today. In this video, you will learn the scientific difference between busy action and efficient action. You will discover the three-part daily discipline that ensures every single action you take is a guaranteed success, creating an unbreakable chain of momentum. Each link in this chain is a perfect act, and when you string together enough perfect acts, the final outcome becomes mathematically certain. You will learn how to withdraw your mental power from worry, from distraction, from the anxiety of outcomes, and pour it entirely into the present moment, into the single task before you right now. But I must warn you, there is a silent killer that destroys the efficiency of action. It is a mental state that feels productive, that seems like focused work, but actually poisons every act with the energy of failure. Most people live in this state every single day, wondering why their hard work never translates into wealth. I will reveal this enemy in part 4 of this video, and when you recognize it in your own life, everything will change. For now, I want you to think about this question. Have you ever had a day where you were extremely busy, where you worked from morning until night, but at the end of it, you felt you had accomplished nothing? If this resonates with you, leave a comment below. Tell me about that experience, because once you understand what went wrong on those days, you will never have another one again. Wallace D. Wattles stated a principle so simple that most people read past it without grasping its revolutionary implications. He said, "It is not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts." Read that again. Let it sink into your consciousness. Your grand future success, the wealth you dream of, the financial freedom you desire, is not built through some massive, heroic effort that happens all at once. It is simply the sum total of many small individual successful actions. If every single act you perform today is a success, your future success becomes a mathematical certainty. Failure is only possible if you perform inefficient, unsuccessful actions. Think about what this means for your life right now. You are not behind. You are not too late. You do not need to make up for lost time with frantic, desperate action. You simply need to ensure that starting right now, every action you take is efficient and successful. One successful action leads to another, which leads to another, and soon you have built an unstoppable momentum. This is the loophole. While everyone else is trying to do more, you will be focused on doing each thing perfectly. While they scatter their energy across 100 half-completed tasks, you will concentrate your full power into one act at a time, making each one a masterpiece of efficiency. Wattles understood something profound about the nature of causation. In the universe, effects follow causes with absolute precision. If you plant an apple seed in fertile soil and care for it properly, you will get an apple tree. There is no randomness, no luck involved. The cause produces the effect with certainty. Your actions are causes. Your wealth is the effect. But here is the key. Only efficient actions are true causes. Inefficient actions are like planting seeds in concrete. You can plant 1,000 seeds, work yourself to exhaustion, and nothing will grow. The quantity of effort is irrelevant if the quality is wrong. This is why so many hard-working people remain poor. They are performing hundreds of actions every day, but most of those actions are inefficient. They are scattered, divided, performed with a worried mind or a rushed spirit. Each inefficient action fails to create the cause that leads to wealth. It is wasted motion, wasted energy, wasted time. And at the end of their lives, they look back and say, "I worked so hard, why didn't it work?" The answer is simple, though tragic. They never learned to make their actions efficient. They never learned the loophole. Consider the alternative. Imagine a life where every action you take is a success. You sit down to write an email, and you write it with total focus and clarity. It is a successful email. You make a phone call, and you give it your complete attention. It is a successful call. You work on a project, and you bring your full mental power to bear on it. It is successful work. At the end of the day, you have performed perhaps 20 or 30 actions, but every single one was a success. How do you feel? You feel powerful. You feel accomplished. You feel the momentum building. Now multiply that day by a week, 7 days of nothing but successful, efficient actions. Then multiply it by a month, then by a year. Can you see what happens? You become unstoppable. Your progress is not a matter of hope or chance. It is guaranteed by the law of cause and effect. Each successful action is a cause that must produce its corresponding effect. String together enough successful actions, and the cumulative effect is wealth. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is scientific fact. Wattles observed that most people fail because they perform their actions with a divided mind. They are physically present in one task while mentally dwelling on another. They are writing a report while worrying about a meeting. They are serving a customer while thinking about their financial problems. They are building their business while anxious about whether it will succeed. This division of mental power makes every action inefficient. The universe cannot respond to an action that is performed with only half of your mind. It requires your full power, your complete attention, your total presence. When you understand this, you realize that the path to wealth is not complicated. It does not require genius. It does not require special advantages. It requires only that you learn to focus the full power of your mind on each action as you perform it. This is the skill that separates the wealthy from the poor. The wealthy have learned, consciously or unconsciously, to make their actions efficient. They have learned to be fully present in what they are doing. They have learned the loophole. Think of your life as a chain. Each action you perform is a link in that chain. If the links are strong, the chain is strong. If the links are weak, the chain breaks. You cannot build a strong chain by adding more weak links. You can only build it by ensuring that each individual link is perfectly forged. This is the law of efficient action. It is not about doing more. It is about making each thing you do a complete and total success. When you do this, your chain becomes unbreakable, and it pulls you inevitably toward your goals. The beauty of this principle is its simplicity. You do not need to change your entire life overnight. You do not need to adopt 100 new habits or learn complex strategies. You need only to change the way you perform the actions you are already taking. You are already working. You are already busy. The question is, are your actions efficient? Are they successful? Or are they just motion, just busyness, just wasted energy that leads nowhere? The answer to this question determines your financial future. Wattles taught that the universe is abundant and that there is enough for everyone, but abundance flows to those who act in harmony with universal law. The law of efficient action is one of those fundamental laws. When you align with it, you open a channel through which wealth can flow to you. When you violate it through inefficient action, you close that channel. It is that simple. The universe is not withholding wealth from you. You are blocking it through the inefficiency of your actions. This is empowering news because it means you have complete control. You do not need anyone's permission to become wealthy. You do not need to wait for the right opportunity or the right circumstances. You simply need to start making your actions efficient. You need to start focusing your full mental power on each task. You need to start treating every single thing you do as a sacred act that is moving you toward your goals. When you do this, wealth becomes not a possibility but an inevitability. Consider the cumulative power of this approach. If you perform 10 efficient actions today, you have created 10 causes that will produce their effects. Tomorrow, you perform 10 more. By the end of a month, you have created 300 causes. By the end of a year, you have created 3,600 causes, each one producing its effect in your life. Can you imagine the momentum? Can you imagine the transformation? This is not slow progress. This is exponential growth because each successful action builds on the last, creating a compound effect that accelerates over time. The loophole that almost everyone misses is this. They are looking for the one big action that will change everything, the one big break, the one perfect opportunity. But Wattles knew that there is no such thing. Wealth is built through the accumulation of small, successful, efficient actions. The big breakthrough is simply the visible result of thousands of invisible, efficient actions that came before it. When you understand this, you stop waiting for your big moment and start creating it through the perfection of your daily actions. To understand why this principle works with such certainty, we must examine the underlying logic. Imagine a master bricklayer building a wall. He does not stand back and worry about whether the wall will be tall enough or strong enough when it is finished. He does not divide his attention between the first row and the 10th row. He focuses entirely on laying one single brick perfectly. He checks its level. He ensures the mortar is applied correctly. He places it with precision and care. He knows that if he lays every single brick with 100% efficiency and success, the final wall will be perfect and strong. It is a guaranteed outcome. The quality of the whole is determined by the quality of each individual part. The universe works the same way. Your life, your wealth, your success, these are walls you are building. Each action you take is a brick. If you lay each brick perfectly, the wall must be perfect. There is no other possibility. But if you rush through laying the bricks, if you do it carelessly, if you are thinking about something else while you work, then each brick is imperfectly placed. And when you step back to look at the wall, it is crooked, weak, unstable. You might blame the materials. You might blame the weather. But the truth is simple. The wall is weak because each individual brick was poorly laid. This is the brutal honesty of the law of efficient action. It removes all excuses. You cannot blame your circumstances, your background, your lack of resources. The only question that matters is, are you making each action a success? If you are, wealth is guaranteed. If you are not, failure is guaranteed. It is a law as precise as mathematics. Stop worrying about the wall of your future wealth. Stop obsessing over the final outcome. Focus only on making each brick, each action you take today, a complete and perfect success in itself. What does it mean for an action to be a success? It means that the action accomplishes what it was intended to accomplish. If you sit down to write a page, a successful action means you write that page with focus and clarity. If you make a sales call, a successful action means you give that call your full attention and do your best. Notice that success is not defined by the outcome you cannot control. You cannot control whether the customer buys, but you can control whether you make the call with efficiency and full mental power. That is what makes the action itself a success. This distinction is crucial. Most people tie their sense of success to outcomes they cannot control, and this creates anxiety, which destroys the efficiency of their actions. They make a call while worrying about whether it will result in a sale. That worry divides their mind and makes the action inefficient. But when you define success as the quality of the action itself, did I give it my full power? Then every action can be a success, regardless of the immediate outcome. And when every action is a success, the cumulative effect over time is wealth. The outcomes you desire become inevitable. Think about the mathematics of this. If you perform 100 actions in a week, and 90 of them are efficient and successful, you have created 90 causes that will produce positive effects. If you perform 100 actions and only 10 of them are efficient, you have created only 10 causes. The person who creates 90 causes per week will progress 9 times faster than the person who creates 10. It is not about working 9 times harder. It is about making each action 9 times more efficient. This is the loophole. This is the leverage point that changes everything. Wattles observed that nature is economical. It does not waste energy. A tree does not try to grow in 10 different directions at once. It focuses its energy on growing upward, toward the light. Every cell, every branch, every leaf is aligned with that single purpose. This is efficiency. This is power. When you align all of your actions with your purpose, when you eliminate waste and distraction, you tap into the same natural power that drives all growth in the universe. You become like the tree, unstoppable, inevitable, certain to reach your goal. Consider the opposite approach, which is how most people live. They scatter their energy. They start 10 projects and finish none. They work on one task while thinking about 3 others. They say yes to every opportunity without discernment. This is the competitive mindset, the mindset of scarcity, the mindset that believes you must do everything and be everywhere to succeed. But this mindset guarantees inefficiency. When your energy is divided, every action is weak. You are like a river that splits into 100 streams. Each stream is shallow and powerless. But when you focus your energy like a river that flows in one direction, you become a force that can carve through mountains. The logic is unassailable. If you want a different result, you must create different causes. If you want wealth, you must perform the actions that cause wealth. And those actions must be efficient. An inefficient action is not a true cause. It is motion without power. It is effort without result. The universe does not reward effort. It rewards efficient action. This is the law. You can rail against it, you can wish it were different, but you cannot change it. The only choice you have is whether to align with it or to continue struggling against it. When you fully grasp this logic, your entire relationship with work changes. You stop glorifying busyness. You stop measuring your worth by how many hours you put in or how exhausted you feel at the end of the day. Instead, you measure your worth by the efficiency of your actions. Did I make each action a success? Did I give each task my full mental power? If the answer is yes, you can rest with confidence, knowing that you have done all that could be done and that your success is one step closer. If the answer is no, you know exactly what to correct tomorrow. This is the path of the master. The master bricklayer does not lay more bricks than the amateur. He lays each brick better. The master chef does not cook more dishes than the novice. He cooks each dish with more precision and care. The master entrepreneur does not take more actions than the struggling business owner. He makes each action more efficient and powerful. This is the secret. This is the loophole. Quality over quantity, efficiency over effort, success in each act over busyness in many acts. Wattles understood that this principle applies to every area of life. but it is especially powerful in the pursuit of wealth. Money flows to those who create value efficiently. If you create value through scattered, inefficient actions, you will create some value, but it will be limited. If you create value through focused, efficient actions, you will create immense value, and wealth will follow as naturally as day follows night. The universe has no choice but to respond to the causes you create. When those causes are powerful and efficient, the effects must be equally powerful. The final piece of this logic is understanding that each moment is a fresh start. You do not need to be discouraged by past inefficiencies. You do not need to carry the weight of yesterday's failures. Each action you take right now is a new opportunity to apply the law of efficient action. This moment, this task, this single act, make it a success. Then move to the next one and make it a success. String together enough of these successful moments, and you will look back in astonishment at how far you have come. The wall will be built, brick by perfect brick. This is the unshakable logic of Wallace D. Wattles. It is not motivational fluff. It is not positive thinking divorced from reality. It is a precise description of how the universe operates. Causes produce effects. Efficient actions produce wealth. Inefficient actions produce struggle. You get to choose which type of action you will take. And that choice, repeated day after day, determines everything. The law of efficient action requires a specific mental state, a particular quality of consciousness that most people rarely experience. This state is complete and total presence. You must withdraw your mind from the future, where it anxiously projects outcomes, and from the past, where it rehearses failures and regrets. You must gather the full power of your consciousness and concentrate it entirely on the single act you are performing right now in this present moment. This is not a mystical concept. This is a practical necessity. Your mind is the source of your power, and when that power is divided across time, worrying about tomorrow, ruminating on yesterday, it cannot be fully present in today's action. And an action performed without your full mental power is, by definition, inefficient. Think about how you typically work. You sit down to write a report, but within minutes, your mind drifts to an upcoming meeting. You force yourself back to the report, but then you remember an email you forgot to send. You make a mental note to send it later, which takes a portion of your attention away from the report. Then you wonder if this report will even matter, if anyone will read it, if it will help you achieve your goals. Now you are writing with perhaps 20% of your mental power. The other 80% is scattered across time and space, worrying, planning, doubting. The report you produce will reflect this divided state. It will be mediocre at best. Contrast this with the state of complete presence. You sit down to write the report, and before you begin, you take a moment to center yourself. You acknowledge that this report is the only thing that exists in your universe right now. The meeting will come when it comes. The email will be sent when it is time to send it. Your future goals will be achieved through the accumulation of present actions. But right now, in this moment, there is only this report. You bring your full attention to it. You feel your mind gathering its scattered energies and focusing them like a lens focuses sunlight into a single burning point. Now you write with 100% of your mental power. The difference in quality is not incremental, it is exponential. This state of presence is what ancient wisdom traditions called mindfulness, what athletes call being in the zone, what psychologists call flow. But Wallace D. Wattles understood it in terms of its practical application to wealth creation. He knew that the universe responds to the intensity and focus of your mental power. When you perform an action with divided attention, you are sending a weak signal to the universe. The cause you create is weak, and therefore the effect will be weak. But when you perform an action with total presence, with your full mental power concentrated in the moment, you create a powerful cause that must produce a powerful effect. The challenge is that our modern world is designed to destroy presence. We are bombarded with notifications, distractions, demands on our attention. We have been trained to multitask, to keep 10 browser tabs open, to constantly check our phones. We have been conditioned to believe that being busy means being productive. But this is a lie that keeps you poor. Busyness is the enemy of presence. Multitasking is the enemy of efficiency. Every time you divide your attention, you reduce the power of your action. Every time you allow a distraction to pull you away from the present moment, you break the chain of efficient action and introduce a link of failure. To master the law of efficient action, you must become ruthless about protecting your presence. You must create environments and habits that support total focus. This might mean turning off all notifications when you work. It might mean working in blocks of time where you commit to a single task and nothing else. It might mean saying no to opportunities that would scatter your energy. These are not sacrifices. These are investments in your efficiency. Every distraction you eliminate multiplies the power of your actions. Every moment of presence you cultivate brings you closer to wealth. But presence is not just about external distractions. The most insidious distractions come from within. They are the mental habits of worry, doubt, and anxiety. You sit down to make an important phone call, and immediately your mind fills with fear. What if they say no? What if I sound foolish? What if this doesn't work? These thoughts are not just unpleasant, they are actively destroying the efficiency of your action. You cannot make a powerful, successful phone call while your mind is consumed with fear of failure. The fear divides your attention, it weakens your voice, hesitates your words, and undermines your confidence. The person on the other end of the line feels this weakness, and they respond accordingly. Wattles taught that you must cultivate a state of faith, not in the religious sense, but in the scientific sense of knowing that efficient action must produce its corresponding effect. When you sit down to make that phone call, you do not worry about the outcome. You know that if you make the call with full presence and efficiency, you have done your part. You have created the cause. The effect will follow in its own time. This faith is not blind optimism. It is based on understanding the law of cause and effect. You plant a seed with confidence, not because you can see the tree, but because you understand the law that governs growth. Similarly, you take efficient action with confidence, not because you can see the wealth, but because you understand the law that governs success. The practice of presence begins with breath. Before you start any important action, take a moment to breathe. Feel your body. Notice where you are. Acknowledge the task before you. This simple act of centering pulls your mind out of its habitual patterns of distraction and worry and anchors it in the present moment. It might take only 10 seconds, but those 10 seconds transform the quality of the next 10 minutes. You move from scattered to focused, from weak to powerful, from inefficient to efficient. This is not wasted time. This is the most productive thing you can do. As you perform the action, maintain your presence through continuous awareness. Notice when your mind starts to drift. Notice when anxiety creeps in. Notice when you start thinking about the next task. And each time you notice, gently bring your attention back to the present action. This is not about perfection. Your mind will wander. That is its nature. The skill is in catching it quickly and redirecting it. Over time, with practice, your ability to maintain presence will strengthen. You will find that you can work for longer periods with full focus. You will feel the power that comes from concentrated mental energy. This state of presence also changes your relationship with time. When you are fully present, time seems to expand. You accomplish more in less time because you are not wasting energy on distraction and worry. Paradoxically, by slowing down and focusing on one thing at a time, you speed up your overall progress. This is the efficiency that Wattles spoke of. It is not about rushing. It is about bringing your full power to each moment. A master craftsman working slowly and deliberately will produce more value in an hour than an amateur working frantically will produce in a day. There is also a profound peace that comes with presence. When you are fully engaged in the present action, there is no room for anxiety about the future or regret about the past. There is only the task at hand and the satisfaction of doing it well. This peace is not a luxury. It is a necessary condition for efficient action. Anxiety and stress create tension in your body and mind, which reduces your effectiveness. Peace and calm allow your natural abilities to flow freely. You think more clearly, you move more gracefully, you communicate more effectively. Everything works better when you are present. Wattles understood that this state of presence is not something you achieve once and then maintain forever. It is something you must cultivate, moment by moment. action by action. Each time you sit down to work, you must consciously choose presence. Each time you feel your mind drifting, you must consciously bring it back. This is the daily discipline of efficient action. It is simple, but it is not easy. It requires vigilance, commitment, and practice. But the rewards are immeasurable. Every moment of presence is a moment of power. Every action performed with full mental focus is a guaranteed step toward wealth. The architecture of efficient action is built on this foundation of presence. Without it, all the techniques and strategies in the world will fail. With it, even simple actions become powerful. This is why Wattles emphasized the quality of each act over the quantity of acts. A single action performed with total presence and efficiency is worth more than 100 actions performed with a divided mind. This is the loophole. This is the secret. Presence transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary causes that must produce extraordinary effects. Consider what your life would look like if you brought this level of presence to everything you did. Not just your work, but your conversations, your meals, your time with loved ones. Every moment would be rich with meaning and power. Every action would be a success. You would move through life with a sense of purpose and effectiveness that most people never experience. This is not a fantasy. This is what happens when you master the law of efficient action. You become a force of nature, unstoppable and inevitable in your progress toward your goals. The mental preparation for efficient action is therefore not something you do once at the beginning of your day. It is something you do before each individual action. You pause, you center, you bring your full attention to the present moment. Then you act with power. Then you pause again before the next action. This rhythm of centering and acting, becomes the heartbeat of your productive life. It is the rhythm of mastery. It is the rhythm of wealth. The universe is waiting for you to act with this level of presence and power. It is ready to respond to the causes you create. But it cannot respond to scattered, weak, divided actions. It can only respond to focused, powerful, efficient actions. When you give the universe something powerful to work with, it gives you powerful results. This is the law. This is the guarantee. Master presence, and you master your destiny. Once you have established the foundation of presence, you must understand the 3 disciplines that ensure every action you take is efficient and successful. These are not abstract principles. They are concrete practices that you can implement immediately. Together, they form a system that transforms the way you work and guarantees that each action moves you toward wealth. The first discipline is the consecration of the act, which unites your mind and body in a single purpose. The second is the elimination of haste, which ensures that you act with calm deliberation rather than anxious rushing. The third is the completion of the act, which prevents you from leaving a trail of half-finished tasks that drain your energy and undermine your faith. Let us begin with the consecration of the act. Before you begin any task, you must bring your full attention to it and consciously dedicate it to your larger purpose. This is not a religious ritual, though it has a sacred quality. It is a psychological technique that aligns your conscious and subconscious mind, your intention and your action, your vision and your present moment. Here is how it works. Before you start a task, pause for a moment. Hold in your mind the vision of the wealth and success you desire. Feel the reality of that vision. Then consciously pour the power of that vision into the single act you are about to perform. You are not just sending an email. You are sending a successful email that is part of your larger journey toward wealth. You are not just making a phone call. You are making a successful call that is aligned with your purpose. This consecration transforms the nature of the action. It is no longer a mundane chore to be gotten through as quickly as possible. It becomes a sacred act, a powerful gesture that is connected to everything you are trying to achieve. When you approach an action with this consciousness, you naturally bring more care, more attention, more power to it. The quality of the action improves dramatically. And because the action is now aligned with your vision, it carries the energy of that vision. The universe responds not just to the physical action, but to the intention and consciousness behind it. An action performed with consecration is infinitely more powerful than the same action performed mechanically or resentfully. The practice of consecration also solves a common problem, the feeling that your daily tasks are meaningless or disconnected from your goals. When you consecrate each act, you see clearly how even small, seemingly insignificant actions are part of your path to wealth. Answering an email becomes an opportunity to build a relationship. Organizing your workspace becomes an act of creating order and efficiency. Every action, no matter how small, is a brick in the wall you are building. This awareness fills your work with meaning and purpose, which in turn increases your motivation and energy. You are no longer just going through the motions. You are consciously creating your future with each act. The second discipline is the elimination of haste. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive principle, because we live in a culture that glorifies speed and urgency. We are told to move fast, to hustle, to outwork everyone else. But Wattles understood that haste is the enemy of efficiency. Haste, hurry, and anxiety are the marks of the competitive plane and the fear of failure. When you rush through an action, you divide your attention. Part of your mind is on the current task, and part of it is already racing ahead to the next task. This division makes the current action inefficient. You make mistakes. You overlook details. You produce work that is mediocre and must be redone later, which wastes even more time. Contrast this with the state of calm deliberation. You move without rush, knowing that there is always enough time to do what needs to be done perfectly. This does not mean moving slowly. It means moving with purpose and presence, without the frantic energy of anxiety. When you eliminate haste, you actually become more efficient, not less. You make fewer mistakes, you produce higher quality work, you think more clearly and make better decisions. The master moves with a calm, steady rhythm that accomplishes more than the frantic rushing of the amateur. The elimination of haste requires a fundamental shift in your relationship with time. You must stop believing that you do not have enough time. This belief creates anxiety, which creates haste, which destroys efficiency. Instead, you must cultivate the faith that there is enough time for everything that truly needs to be done. If there is not enough time to do something properly, then it should not be done at all. Better to do fewer things with excellence than many things with mediocrity. This is the mindset of efficiency. This is the mindset that creates wealth. In practical terms, eliminating haste means giving yourself permission to work at a sustainable pace. It means building buffer time into your schedule so that you are not constantly racing against deadlines. It means saying no to commitments that would force you to rush. It means trusting that by doing each thing well, you will accomplish more than by doing many things poorly. This requires courage because it goes against the grain of our busy, hurried culture. But it is essential for efficient action. When you move with calm deliberation, you tap into a deeper power. You work from a place of strength rather than fear. The third discipline is the completion of the act. This principle states that when you do a thing, you do it to completion if possible. You do not leave a trail of half-finished tasks scattered in your wake. Each completed successful act is a victory that builds your faith and power for the next act. Each incomplete act is a drain on your energy and a weight on your mind. Think about how you feel when you have 10 projects started and none finished. You feel scattered, overwhelmed, and ineffective. Now think about how you feel when you complete a project. You feel accomplished, powerful, and ready for the next challenge. Completion creates momentum. Incompletion creates stagnation. The practice of completion requires discipline and discernment. It means choosing carefully which tasks you will start, knowing that you are committing to see them through to the end. It means resisting the temptation to jump to a new, exciting project when the current one becomes difficult or boring. It means pushing through the final 10% of a task, which is often the hardest part, rather than leaving it 90% done. This discipline builds your character and your capacity for sustained effort. It teaches you that you are someone who finishes what they start, which is one of the most valuable traits for success. Completion also has a psychological effect that is crucial for efficient action. When you complete a task, you close a loop in your mind. You are no longer carrying the mental burden of that unfinished task. Your mind is free to focus fully on the next action. But when you leave tasks incomplete, those open loops continue to consume mental energy, even when you are not actively working on them. Your subconscious mind is trying to track all these unfinished projects, which reduces the mental power available for your current action. By practicing completion, you free up mental energy and increase the efficiency of every subsequent action. There are times, of course, when you must set a task aside before it is complete. The key is to do this consciously and strategically, not habitually. If you must pause a project, do so at a natural stopping point. Make notes about where you left off and what needs to be done next. Schedule a specific time to return to it. This maintains the integrity of the task and prevents it from becoming one of those open loops that drain your energy. The goal is to minimize the number of incomplete tasks you are carrying at any given time, so that your mind can be fully present in your current action. When you integrate these three disciplines, consecration, elimination of haste, and completion, you create a system of action that is fundamentally different from the way most people work. You are no longer just busy. You are efficient. You are no longer just moving. You are progressing. Each action you take is a powerful cause that must produce its effect. Over time, as you practice these disciplines, they become second nature. You no longer have to consciously remind yourself to consecrate each act or eliminate haste or complete your tasks. These principles become woven into the fabric of how you work. They become your new operating system, your new way of being in the world. The transformation that results from this practice is profound. You will notice that you accomplish more with less effort. You will feel a sense of power and control over your life that you may have never experienced before. You will see your goals moving steadily closer, not through dramatic leaps, but through the accumulation of many small, successful, efficient actions. This is the path that Wattles laid out. This is the loophole that bypasses the maze of struggle and leads directly to wealth. It is available to anyone who is willing to practice these disciplines with consistency and commitment. At the end of a day filled with efficient actions, you will feel something remarkable. You will not feel exhausted and depleted as you do after a day of busy, scattered, inefficient work. Instead, you will feel a sense of power and peace. You will know that you have done all that could be done. You will feel the satisfaction of having given your full power to each task. You will sense the momentum building, the chain of successful actions growing stronger, and you will rest with the confidence that your success is one day closer, guaranteed by the law of cause and effect. This feeling is not just pleasant. It is the evidence that you are working in harmony with universal law. It is the sign that wealth is on its way to you, as certain as the sunrise. Even with the knowledge of the law of efficient action and the three disciplines, there are common pitfalls that can undermine your progress. These mistakes are subtle. They often masquerade as productive behavior, which makes them especially dangerous. If you do not learn to recognize and avoid them, they will sabotage your efforts no matter how hard you work. The first and most fatal mistake is operating with a divided mind. This is the silent killer I promised to reveal, and it is responsible for more failure than any other single factor. Understanding this mistake will transform your entire approach to work and wealth. A divided mind is when you are performing one action with your body while your mind is somewhere else entirely. You are writing a report, but your mind is worrying about a conversation you had yesterday. You are in a meeting, but your mind is planning what you will do when you get home. You are making a sales call, but your mind is anxious about whether you will meet your quota this month. This division seems normal because it is so common. Almost everyone operates this way most of the time, but just because something is common does not mean it is effective. In fact, the very commonness of the divided mind explains why so few people achieve the wealth they desire. When your mind is divided, the action you are performing receives only a fraction of your mental power. If your mind is 50% present and 50% elsewhere, then the action is only 50% efficient. But the loss is actually greater than that, because the anxiety and distraction actively interfere with your performance. They create tension, hesitation, and errors, so an action performed with a divided mind might be only 20 or 30% as effective as the same action performed with full presence. This is catastrophic when you understand that your wealth is the sum total of all your individual actions. If each action is only 30% as effective as it could be, then your progress toward wealth will be only 30% of what it could be. You will work 3 times as hard for the same results, or more likely, you will work hard and see almost no results at all. The divided mind has several sources. One is the habit of multitasking, which is really just rapidly switching your attention between multiple tasks. Each time you switch, you lose efficiency. Your brain needs time to refocus, and in that transition, power is lost. Another source is worry about outcomes. You cannot control whether a customer will buy, whether a project will succeed, whether your efforts will pay off. But you can control the quality of your present action. When you worry about outcomes while performing an action, you divide your mind between what you can control and what you cannot. This division is pointless and destructive. It weakens your action without changing the outcome. A third source of the divided mind is dwelling on past failures or successes. If you are performing an action while replaying a past mistake in your mind, you are not fully present. If you are performing an action while basking in a past victory, you are not fully present. The past is gone. It has no power except the power you give it by thinking about it. Every moment you spend thinking about the past is a moment stolen from the present, where your actual power resides. Wattles taught that you must live in the present moment, with your mind focused on the present action. This is not just good advice, it is the fundamental requirement for efficient action. The divided mind feels productive because you are thinking about multiple things, which creates the illusion of being busy and engaged. But it is actually the opposite of productive. It is the state in which you are least effective, least powerful, and least likely to create the causes that lead to wealth. The universe does not respond to your worries or your plans or your memories. It responds only to your actions. And your actions are only powerful when they are performed with your full undivided mental power. This is the law. There are no exceptions. To overcome the divided mind, you must practice the art of single-pointed focus. This means that when you are doing something, you are only doing that thing. Your mind is not wandering to other tasks, other worries, other thoughts. It is concentrated entirely on the action at hand. This is difficult at first because the habit of mental division is deeply ingrained. But with practice, it becomes easier. You begin to notice when your mind starts to wander, and you gently bring it back. Over time, your capacity for sustained focus increases. You can work for longer periods with full presence, and the quality of your work improves dramatically. One practical technique for overcoming the divided mind is to work in focused blocks of time. Choose a specific task and commit to working on it, and only it for a set period, perhaps 25 minutes to start. During that time, eliminate all distractions, turn off notifications, close unnecessary browser tabs, put your phone in another room. Then bring your full attention to the task. When the time is up, take a short break. Then begin another focused block. This technique, often called the Pomodoro method, is effective because it creates clear boundaries. During the focused block, there is no question about what you should be doing. You are doing the task with full presence. This eliminates the mental noise that comes from trying to juggle multiple priorities. Another technique is to use physical cues to anchor your presence. Before you begin a task, take a deep breath and feel your body. Notice the weight of your feet on the floor, the sensation of the chair beneath you. This simple act brings your awareness into the present moment and out of the abstract realm of thoughts and worries. Throughout the task, periodically check in with your body. Are you holding tension? Are you breathing shallowly? These physical sensations are often signs that your mind has drifted and anxiety has crept in. By noticing them, you can consciously relax and refocus. The second major mistake is confusing motion with action. This mistake is related to the divided mind but distinct from it. Motion is activity that feels like progress but does not actually move you toward your goal. Checking email for the 5th time today is motion. Scrolling through social media for research is motion. Attending meetings that do not require your presence is motion. Planning to plan is motion. Reorganizing your to-do list for the 3rd time this week is motion. These activities create the feeling of being busy and productive, but they do not create the causes that lead to wealth. Efficient action, by contrast, is the type of act that, if done successfully, moves you measurably closer to your goal. Writing a sales page is action. Making a phone call to a potential client is action. Creating a product is action. Solving a problem for a customer is action. These are the activities that create value, build relationships, and generate wealth. The difference between motion and action is not always obvious, which is why this mistake is so common. Motion can feel important and urgent. It can fill your day and leave you exhausted. But at the end of the day, you realize you have not actually accomplished anything meaningful. To avoid this mistake, you must regularly ask yourself, is what I am doing right now moving me toward my goal, or is it just motion? If the answer is not clear, it is probably motion. This does not mean that every single thing you do must directly generate income. Some actions are necessary maintenance, paying bills, organizing files, responding to certain emails, but you must be honest about the difference between necessary maintenance and motion that masquerades as work. The key is to ensure that the majority of your time and energy is spent on true action, not motion. One way to distinguish action from motion is to ask, if I did this task perfectly, would it create a result that moves me toward my goal? If you perfectly check your email, you have an empty inbox. Does that move you toward wealth? Probably not significantly. If you perfectly write a sales page, you have a tool that can attract customers and generate revenue. That is a clear result that moves you toward your goal. Use this test to evaluate your activities. Be ruthless about eliminating motion and protecting your time for true action. Wallace D. Wattles provided one of the most powerful directives ever written on the subject of efficient action. He said, "Put the whole power of your mind into every act, however trivial. Do not let your attention be diverted. If every act is a success in itself, you are surely going to get rich." Read that again slowly. Let each word sink in. This is not motivational rhetoric. This is a precise instruction for how to operate in the world if you want to create wealth. The whole power of your mind. Every act, however trivial. Do not let your attention be diverted. Every act a success. These are the non-negotiable requirements. Notice that Wattles says, however trivial. This is crucial. You might think that you only need to apply full focus to important tasks, the big presentation, the major sale, the critical decision. But Wattles understood that this is impossible. You cannot suddenly summon full mental power for important tasks if you have not been practicing it on trivial tasks. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. If you perform small tasks with a divided mind, you will perform large tasks with a divided mind. If you practice full presence on trivial acts, you will naturally bring that same presence to important acts. This is why Wattles emphasized that every act must be a success in itself, not just the big acts. Not just the visible acts, every single thing you do. When you wash a dish, wash it with full presence and make it a successful act. When you write an email, write it with full attention and make it a successful email. When you walk from one room to another, walk with awareness and purpose. This level of consciousness might seem excessive, but it is the level of consciousness that creates wealth. It is the level of consciousness that makes you a master of your craft and your life. The directive to not let your attention be diverted is equally important. This is a recognition that your attention is under constant assault. Distractions are everywhere. Your phone buzzes. A thought pops into your head. Someone interrupts you. The temptation to check social media or the news is always present. Each of these distractions, if you give in to it, diverts your attention and breaks the chain of efficient action. You must guard your attention as fiercely as you would guard your most valuable possession, because it is your most valuable possession. Your attention is the currency with which you purchase your future. Spend it wisely. One of Wattles' most profound insights is that if every act is a success, you are surely going to get rich. Note the certainty of that statement. Surely. Not possibly, not probably. Surely. This is because wealth is a mathematical inevitability when you perform only successful, efficient actions. Each successful action is a cause. The cumulative effect of many causes is wealth. There is no mystery. There is no luck. There is only the law of cause and effect operating with perfect precision. If you create the causes, the effects must follow. This is what makes the law of efficient action a loophole. It is a guarantee hidden in plain sight, available to anyone who will practice it. To implement this directive, you must develop a moment-to-moment awareness of the quality of your actions. Throughout your day, pause periodically and ask yourself, am I putting the whole power of my mind into this act? Is my attention divided? Am I making this act a success? These questions bring you back to presence and remind you of your commitment to efficient action. At first, you will notice that you are often not meeting these standards. Your mind is divided. Your attention is scattered. Your actions are mediocre. This awareness is not a cause for discouragement. It is the first step toward change. As you continue to practice, you will notice gradual improvement. You will catch yourself earlier when your mind starts to wander. You will more quickly redirect your attention to the present task. You will feel the difference between an action performed with full power and an action performed with divided attention. This felt sense is important because it gives you immediate feedback. You do not have to wait for external results to know whether you are practicing efficient action. You can feel it in the moment. When you are fully present, there is a quality of aliveness, of power, of flow. When you are divided, there is a quality of struggle, of tension, of disconnection. Wattles also taught that efficient action is not about perfection in the sense of never making mistakes. It is about perfection in the sense of giving your full power to each act. You might write an email with full presence and later realize you could have phrased something better. That is fine. The email was still a successful act because you gave it your full attention. What matters is not whether the outcome is perfect by some external standard, but whether you performed the act with full efficiency. The universe responds to your effort and presence, not to your ability to predict every outcome or avoid every error. This understanding removes a great deal of pressure and anxiety. You do not have to know the perfect thing to do. You do not have to have all the answers. You simply have to do each thing with full presence and efficiency. As you do this, you will naturally learn and improve. Your judgment will get better. Your skills will increase. But these are byproducts of efficient action, not prerequisites for it. You can start right now exactly where you are, with whatever you are doing, and make it an efficient action by bringing your full mental power to it. The master's tips can be summarized in a simple daily practice. Each morning before you begin work, take a few moments to center yourself. Recall your vision of wealth. Feel the reality of it. Then make a commitment. Today I will put the whole power of my mind into every act. I will not let my attention be diverted. I will make every act a success in itself. Throughout the day, return to this commitment. Before each task, pause and consecrate it. During each task, maintain presence. After each task, acknowledge its completion. This simple rhythm, practiced consistently, will transform your life. At the end of each day, review your actions. Were there moments when you maintained full presence? Celebrate those moments. Were there moments when your mind was divided? Do not judge yourself harshly. Simply notice and commit to doing better tomorrow. This daily practice of intention, action, and review creates a feedback loop that accelerates your mastery of efficient action. You are not just working, you are consciously practicing a skill. And like any skill, it improves with deliberate practice. The final master's tip is this: trust the process. There will be days when you feel you are not making progress, when the results you want seem far away. On those days, return to the fundamentals. Focus on making each action a success. Trust that the cumulative effect of your efficient actions is building toward the wealth you desire, even if you cannot see it yet. The universe is responding to every cause you create. The effects are on their way. Your job is simply to continue creating powerful causes through efficient action. Do this, and your success is not a matter of hope. It is a matter of certainty. The principles Wallace D. Wattles taught over a century ago have been validated by modern science in remarkable ways. What he called efficient action, contemporary psychology calls a flow state. Flow is a concept developed by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who spent decades researching optimal human performance. He discovered that there is a specific state of consciousness in which people perform at their absolute best. In this state, they are completely absorbed in what they are doing. Their sense of time distorts. Hours can feel like minutes. Their self-consciousness disappears. They feel a sense of effortless control and deep enjoyment. Most importantly, their performance goes through the roof. They produce their best work, make their best decisions, and achieve their most impressive results. Csikszentmihalyi found that flow occurs when several conditions are met. The task must have clear goals and immediate feedback. The challenge of the task must be well matched to your skill level, not so easy that you are bored, not so hard that you are anxious. And most crucially, you must be completely focused on the task with no distractions. Your attention must be fully engaged. These conditions create the state of flow, and in that state you access capabilities that are normally beyond your reach. You think more clearly, you move more efficiently, you solve problems more creatively, you are, in every measurable way, more effective. Now compare this to Wattles' description of efficient action. He said you must focus the whole power of your mind on the task at hand. You must not let your attention be diverted. You must be fully present in the act you are performing. He described a state in which you pour all your mental energy into a single action, making it a success in itself. This is exactly the state that Csikszentmihalyi identified as flow. Wattles understood the metaphysics of this state. He knew that it is the only state in which you are acting with the full creative power of the universe. When you are in flow, when you are performing efficient action, you are not working alone. You are working in harmony with universal forces that amplify your efforts and guarantee your success. The scientific validation goes deeper. Neuroscientists have studied the brain during flow states and found remarkable changes. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for self-criticism and conscious control, temporarily deactivates. This is why you lose self-consciousness in flow. You stop judging yourself and second-guessing your actions. You simply act. At the same time, the brain releases a powerful cocktail of neurochemicals: dopamine, norepinephrine, endorphins, anandamide, and serotonin. These chemicals enhance pattern recognition, information processing, and lateral thinking. They make you smarter, faster, and more creative. They also create a sense of euphoria and satisfaction, which is why flow feels so good. What this means is that when you practice efficient action as Wattles taught it, you are not just following an old philosophical principle. You are deliberately triggering a scientifically validated state of optimal performance. You are hacking your brain to operate at its highest level. This is not mysticism, this is applied neuroscience. The ancient wisdom and the modern science converge on the same truth. Total focus and presence unlock extraordinary human capabilities. When you work in this state, you are not just more productive, you are operating on a different level entirely. The implications for wealth creation are profound. Most people never experience flow because they never meet the conditions for it. They work with constant distractions. They multitask. They let their attention be divided. They worry about outcomes instead of focusing on the present action. As a result, they never access their full capabilities. They work hard but produce mediocre results. They wonder why success eludes them, never realizing that they have been operating at perhaps 20 or 30% of their potential. The loophole that Wattles revealed is that you can deliberately create the conditions for flow in your daily work. You can choose to focus fully. You can choose to eliminate distractions. You can choose to make every act a success. And when you do, you access a level of power that most people never even know exists. Research on flow has also revealed that it is not a rare or mystical experience reserved for elite performers. Anyone can experience flow if they create the right conditions. It does not require special talent or years of training. It simply requires that you structure your work in a way that supports full focus. This is empowering because it means that the state of optimal performance is available to you right now. You do not have to wait until you are more skilled or more experienced. You can start creating flow states today by applying the principles of efficient action. Focus on one task at a time. Eliminate distractions. Match the challenge to your skill level. Give the task your full attention. These simple practices will begin to trigger flow, and as you experience it more often, you will become better at accessing it on demand. The relationship between flow and wealth is direct. In flow, you produce higher quality work in less time. You make better decisions. You solve problems more effectively. You communicate more clearly. All of these improvements translate directly into greater value creation, which is the foundation of wealth. When you create more value, you attract more opportunities. People want to work with you. Customers want to buy from you. Your reputation grows. Your income increases. This is not luck or chance. It is the natural result of consistently operating at a higher level of performance. Flow is the mechanism through which efficient action produces wealth. Wattles understood something that modern science is only beginning to grasp. Consciousness is not just a passive observer of reality. It is an active participant in creating reality. When you focus your consciousness fully on an action, you are not just performing that action more effectively. You are actually changing the nature of the action itself. You are infusing it with creative power. You are making it a cause that must produce a powerful effect. This is why Wattles insisted that you must put the whole power of your mind into every act. He knew that your mental state determines the quality and power of your actions, and therefore determines your results. Modern physics supports this view with the observer effect, which shows that the act of observation can change what is being observed. While this principle is usually discussed in the context of quantum mechanics, it points to a deeper truth. Consciousness and reality are not separate. They are interconnected. When you bring full consciousness to an action, you are not just doing the action, you are creating the action in a more powerful way. This is the metaphysical foundation of efficient action, and it is why the principle works with such certainty. You are not just following a technique, you are aligning with the fundamental nature of reality itself. The validation from flow science gives you confidence that what Wattles taught is not just old-fashioned advice. It is a timeless truth about how human beings achieve excellence. Whether you approach it from the spiritual perspective that Wattles used or from the scientific perspective of modern psychology, you arrive at the same conclusion. Total focus and presence are the keys to optimal performance. When you perform actions in this state, you are guaranteed to produce superior results. Over time, those superior results compound into wealth. This is not a belief. This is a fact, validated by both ancient wisdom and modern research. The practical takeaway is this: if you want to get rich, learn to enter flow states regularly. And the way to enter flow is to practice efficient action. Focus fully on one task at a time. Eliminate distractions. Bring your whole mind to the present moment. Do not worry about outcomes. Do not let your attention be diverted. Make every act a success in itself. When you do this, you will begin to experience flow more and more often. And as flow becomes your normal state of working, wealth becomes inevitable. You are no longer hoping for success. You are creating it, moment by moment, action by action, with the full power of your consciousness and the full support of universal law. The convergence of Wattles' teachings and modern flow science is one of the most exciting developments in the field of personal development. It shows that the principles of success are not arbitrary. They are not just the opinions of motivational speakers. They are grounded in the actual structure of reality and the actual functioning of the human mind. When you align with these principles, you are not just trying to succeed. You are working with the grain of the universe. You are operating in harmony with laws that govern all achievement. And in that state of harmony, success is not difficult. It is natural. It is inevitable. It is guaranteed. To make these principles more concrete, let me share an illustration that captures the essence of efficient action versus divided, inefficient action. Imagine two chefs working in their respective kitchens. Chef A is frantic. He is trying to prepare 5 dishes at once. He runs from one station to another, stirring a pot here, checking the oven there, chopping vegetables, while simultaneously plating a dish. His mind is scattered across all these tasks. He is also worried about the customers waiting for their food. He is yelling at his staff, blaming them for things going wrong. His movements are jerky and rushed. He makes mistakes. He oversalts a sauce. He burns a piece of meat. He forgets a crucial ingredient. The food that finally reaches the customers is inconsistent. Some dishes are good, some are mediocre, some are actually bad. The kitchen is chaotic, stressful, and inefficient. Now consider Chef B. He is working on the same number of dishes, but his approach is completely different. He moves with calm deliberation. He is focused entirely on the task at hand. When he is chopping vegetables, that is all he is doing. His mind is not racing ahead to the next step. He is fully present with the knife, the cutting board, the vegetables. Each slice is precise and intentional. When he moves to the stove to check a sauce, he gives that his complete attention. He tastes it, adjusts the seasoning with care, and stirs it with awareness. There is no rush, no panic, no anxiety. He is not worried about the customers or the clock. He trusts that if he makes each action a success, the final result will be excellent. Chef B's food is consistently exceptional. Every dish that leaves his kitchen is a masterpiece. The flavors are perfectly balanced. The presentation is beautiful. The timing is impeccable. His customers rave about the experience. His kitchen, despite producing the same volume of food as Chef A's kitchen, is peaceful and efficient. His staff respects him and works smoothly under his guidance. He is not working harder than Chef A. In fact, he might be expending less physical energy because he is not running around frantically. But he is working with more power, more focus, more efficiency. He is practicing what Wattles called efficient action and what modern science calls flow. The difference between these two chefs is not talent. It is not training. It is not the quality of their ingredients or equipment. The difference is entirely in their mental state and their approach to action. Chef A has a divided mind. He is trying to do too many things at once. His attention is scattered. His actions are rushed and anxious. Each action is inefficient because it is performed with only a fraction of his mental power. Chef B has a unified mind. He focuses on one thing at a time. His attention is concentrated. His actions are calm and deliberate. Each action is efficient because it receives his full mental power. This illustration applies to any field, any endeavor, any pursuit of wealth. You can be a frantic entrepreneur like Chef A, trying to do everything at once, constantly distracted, always anxious about results, producing inconsistent work that sometimes succeeds and often fails. Or you can be a focused entrepreneur like Chef B, working on one thing at a time with total presence, trusting the process, producing consistently excellent work that inevitably leads to success. The choice is yours. The principles are the same whether you are cooking food, writing code, selling products, or providing services. Efficient action works everywhere because it is based on universal law. Notice also that Chef B is not just producing better food. He is also experiencing his work differently. He is not stressed and miserable. He is calm and satisfied. He finds joy in the process of cooking because he is fully present in it. This is another benefit of efficient action that Wattles understood. When you work with full presence, work becomes enjoyable. You are not just enduring it to get to some future reward. You are experiencing fulfillment in the act itself. This makes you more sustainable in your efforts. You can maintain this way of working for years without burning out, whereas the frantic, divided approach of Chef A leads to exhaustion and eventual collapse. The customers can feel the difference too. When they eat Chef B's food, they are not just tasting ingredients. They are tasting the consciousness with which the food was prepared. They are experiencing the care, the attention, the presence that went into every action. This is true in any business. When you create a product or deliver a service with efficient action, with full presence and focus, people can sense it. They feel the quality. They feel that something is different, even if they cannot articulate what it is. This quality attracts customers, builds loyalty, and creates word-of-mouth referrals. It is a competitive advantage that cannot be easily copied because it comes from consciousness, not technique. The lesson of the two chefs is simple but profound. Stop trying to do everything at once. Stop dividing your attention. Stop rushing through your actions with a worried mind. Instead, focus on one thing at a time. Give it your complete attention. Make each action a masterpiece of efficiency. Trust that if you do this consistently, the cumulative result will be wealth. You do not need to work harder. You need to work with more presence, more focus, more power. This is the loophole. This is the secret. This is what Wattles taught and what modern science has validated. Master this and you master your financial destiny. We have journeyed through the labyrinth of efficient action, and now we arrive at the synthesis of power. The secret to massive success is not found in grand, complex strategies or elaborate plans that span years. It is found in the microscopic perfection of your daily actions. Your future is not built with giant leaps that happen once in a lifetime. It is built with an unbreakable chain of small, successful, efficient acts that happen every single day. This is the truth that Wallace D. Wattles discovered, and that transforms the lives of everyone who truly understands it. You do not need to be extraordinary to become wealthy. You simply need to make ordinary actions extraordinary through the power of full presence and focus. Think about what this means for your life starting today. You do not need to wait for some perfect moment to begin. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need special resources or connections or opportunities. You have everything you need right now. You have your mind, your attention, and your ability to act. These three things, properly aligned through the law of efficient action, are sufficient to create any level of wealth you desire. The power is not in some external circumstance. The power is in you, in this moment, in the next action you take. This is the most liberating truth in all of success literature. The synthesis of power occurs when you realize that every moment is a fresh opportunity to practice efficient action. You are never too far behind to catch up. You are never too far ahead to need this principle. Whether you are just starting your journey to wealth or you are already successful and want to reach the next level, the principle is the same. Make each action a success. Focus fully on the present task. Eliminate haste and worry. Complete what you start. These simple disciplines applied consistently create a momentum that becomes unstoppable. You are no longer hoping for success. You are building it, brick by brick, action by action, with the certainty of a master craftsman. This synthesis also means understanding that there is no separation between who you are and what you do. Your actions are not separate from your consciousness. They are expressions of your consciousness. When you perform an action with full presence, you are not just completing a task. You are practicing a way of being. You are training yourself to live with power, focus, and intention. Over time, this way of being becomes your natural state. You no longer have to consciously remind yourself to be present. You are present. You no longer have to force yourself to focus. Focus is your default mode. This transformation of consciousness is the real wealth, and the material wealth that follows is simply its natural expression. The power of this synthesis is that it works regardless of your current circumstances. It does not matter if you are starting with nothing or if you have already achieved some success. It does not matter if you have support or if you are alone. It does not matter if conditions are favorable or challenging. The law of efficient action works everywhere, always, for everyone who applies it. This is because it is based on universal principles, not on temporary conditions. You are not trying to manipulate circumstances to create success. You are creating success through the quality of your actions, and then circumstances rearrange themselves to match your new level of power. Stop trying to win the week, the month, or the year. These time frames are too large and too abstract. They create anxiety because they focus your attention on outcomes you cannot directly control. Instead, just win the next 10 minutes. Win the next action. This is the only game that matters. This is the only game you can actually win. When you sit down to work, do not think about all the tasks you need to complete today. Think only about the one task you are doing right now. Give it your full power, make it a success, then move to the next task and do the same. String together enough of these winning moments, and you will look back at the end of the day and realize you have had a winning day. String together enough winning days, and you will have a winning life. The universe does not reward struggle. This is crucial to understand. Our culture glorifies struggle and sacrifice. We are told that success requires pain, that you have to suffer to earn your wealth. But Wattles taught something radically different. The universe rewards success. It rewards efficient action. It rewards the quality of your consciousness and the power of your focus. When you struggle, when you force, when you work from a place of anxiety and desperation, you are actually working against universal law. You are creating inefficient actions that produce weak results. This is why so many people who work incredibly hard remain poor. They are rewarding struggle instead of rewarding success. Make every act a masterpiece of efficiency, and your life will become a masterpiece of wealth. This is not hyperbole. This is a precise description of how the law of cause and effect operates. Each efficient action is a perfect cause. Perfect causes produce perfect effects. When you string together thousands of perfect causes, the cumulative effect is a perfect life, a life of wealth, fulfillment, and power. You do not have to worry about the big picture. You do not have to have a 10-year plan. You simply have to make today's actions masterpieces. Tomorrow you make tomorrow's actions masterpieces. The big picture takes care of itself when you perfect the small moments. The loophole has been there all along, hidden in plain sight. Everyone is looking for the secret strategy, the insider knowledge, the breakthrough technique that will suddenly make them rich. But the real loophole is simpler and more profound than any of that. The power is not in the outcome. The power is in the act itself. When you perform an action with full presence and efficiency, you are not just working toward a future goal, you are embodying the consciousness of wealth right now. You are being the person who is already successful, and when you consistently be that person, the material manifestation of wealth must follow. It is a law. This message is deeply empowering because it puts you in complete control. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control what other people do. You cannot control timing or luck or circumstances, but you can control the quality of your actions. You can control whether you are fully present or distracted. You can control whether you rush through tasks or perform them with care. You can control whether you complete what you start or leave things half done. These choices, made moment by moment throughout your day, determine your financial future. This is power. This is freedom. This is the truth that sets you free from the prison of circumstance and puts you in command of your destiny. Wallace D. Wattles gave us a gift when he discovered and articulated the law of efficient action. He showed us that wealth is not a matter of luck, privilege, or even talent. It is a matter of aligning your actions with universal law. It is a matter of focusing your consciousness and bringing your full power to each moment. This teaching has been validated by modern science, proven by countless success stories, and is available to anyone willing to practice it. The question is not whether it works. The question is whether you will apply it. Will you continue to work with a divided mind, hoping that somehow, someday, your efforts will pay off? Or will you start right now to make every action a masterpiece of efficiency, knowing that your success is guaranteed by the law of cause and effect? The transformation begins the moment you decide to practice efficient action. You do not need to change your entire life overnight. You do not need to quit your job or start a new business or make any dramatic external changes. You simply need to change how you perform the actions you are already taking. Start with 1 hour a day. During that hour, practice total focus. Eliminate all distractions. Give each task your complete attention. Make every action in that hour a success. Then gradually expand that practice to more of your day. As you do this, you will notice changes. You will feel more powerful. You will accomplish more with less effort. You will experience flow states more frequently. And you will begin to see results in your external circumstances. More opportunities, more income, more success. I want to challenge you to something specific and concrete. This is not just about understanding these principles intellectually. This is about embodying them in your daily life. I propose the Power Hour Challenge. For just 1 hour a day, for 1 week, work on your most important goal. During that hour, your only mission is to practice the law of efficient action. No multitasking. No distractions. No divided mind. Total focus on making each small act a success. Before you begin the hour, consecrate it. Remind yourself of your vision. Commit to bringing your full power to every action. During the hour, eliminate haste. Move with calm deliberation. Complete each task before moving to the next. The goal of this challenge is not to accomplish some massive amount of work. The goal is to feel the immense momentum and power that is generated by this way of working. When you work with efficient action for even 1 focused hour, You will accomplish more meaningful progress than you typically accomplish in an entire day of scattered, distracted work. You will feel the difference in your body and mind. You will feel powerful, clear, and effective. You will understand, not just intellectually but experientially, what Wattles was teaching. And once you have felt this power, you will never want to go back to the old way of working. You will naturally want to expand this practice to more of your life. During this power hour, pay attention to the quality of your consciousness. Notice when your mind starts to wander. Notice when anxiety creeps in. Notice when you are tempted to check your phone or jump to another task. Each time you notice these things, gently bring your attention back to the present action. This is not about perfection. This is about practice. You are training your mind to focus, training yourself to work with power, training your consciousness to operate at a higher level. With each day of practice, it will become easier. Your capacity for sustained focus will increase, and the results you produce will become more impressive. At the end of the week, reflect on your experience. Compare how you felt during the power hours to how you feel during your normal work. Compare what you accomplished during those focused hours to what you typically accomplish in the same amount of time. I am confident that you will be amazed by the difference. This is the power of efficient action. This is the loophole that Wattles discovered. And once you have proven it to yourself through direct experience, you will have the confidence and motivation to make it a permanent part of your life. You will no longer be someone who hopes for success. You will be someone who creates success with scientific certainty. If you are ready to stop being busy and start being rich, if you are ready to stop struggling and start succeeding, if you are ready to master the success loophole that Wallace D. Wattles revealed, then subscribe to the Master's Legacy. This channel is dedicated to exploring the profound teachings of the great masters of the mind, translating their wisdom into practical principles you can apply today. We are building a community of people who are committed to operating at a higher level, who understand that success is not about luck or circumstances, but about consciousness and action. Join us on this journey. Learn from the masters, apply their teachings, transform your life. Remember, the loophole is not a shortcut that lets you avoid work. It is a way of working that makes every ounce of effort count. It is a way of focusing your power so that you accomplish in 1 hour what others accomplish in 10. It is a way of aligning with universal law so that success becomes inevitable rather than uncertain. This is available to you right now. You do not need anyone's permission. You do not need to wait for the right moment. You simply need to start making your actions efficient. Focus fully on the present moment. Eliminate haste and worry. Make every act a success. Do this consistently, and wealth will come to you as surely as day follows night. The path is clear. The principles are proven. The power is within you. All that remains is for you to take the first step. Make your next action an efficient action. Then make the one after that efficient as well. Build the chain, link by link, act by act, moment by moment. Before you know it, you will have built a life of wealth and success that others will marvel at. And when they ask you how you did it, you can share with them the simple truth that Wallace D. Wattles taught. It is not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. Master this, and you master everything.